Hey, happy Saturday. I want to talk about the border issue again. This time concerning Ted Cruz, who put a no sanctuary, no schools not a sanctuary act, which is kind of stupid. It's a bill that says all schools, public schools, K through 12, should not be used for asylum seekers. Okay. And it's kind of stupid because of the simple fact that anytime that migrants were thrown into schools, it was temporarily because they had to be pushed back out to different homes and all this other stuff, just so that way the schools can go back to normal. Okay. So for him to say, well, it's illegal and dangerous and all this other crap, well, not really, not when school's off. Nobody's no. I want to know what school has actually got kids learning and all this stuff, and then like on the way to recess passing by a bunch of tents of migrants that are leaning up against or migrants leaning, resting, sleeping against the walls in between the classrooms. I want to know what school's doing that. What the hell is this guy talking about? What the hell is Ted Cruz talking about? Tom Cruise, him too. Ted Cruz, I mean, he's got to be the biggest moron in the world. Here's another thing. Everybody that's saying, well, nobody should be in schools while occupied. Earlier this week in Fort Worth, which is a city right next to Dallas, there are certain schools that had huge drops of attendees. Okay. And it's quite possible that schools are going to get shut down because there's no more kids going to those schools. So, and when you got that room available, when you got that much space available, because there's nobody sending their kids to that asylum, to that school, then why don't you make use of it? Then what exactly is the harm in putting illegal migrants in a school that doesn't have any kids? Why not keep the teachers there and teach those migrants how to speak English? I mean, come on. Use common sense, people. I don't understand why common sense is such a 4-letter word here in Texas or in the U.S. I don't get it. Plus, seeing as how it's actually very helpful, because we've seen it even though it brought a big frown on people. I have to state this again. That resort over in, I think it was New Hampshire or New Jersey, I can't remember. I think it was New Jersey. A resort that housed everybody, despite the fact that the landlord kicked out people that were living there as residents, for way cheaper of a price, that landlord could have kept the Americans that resided there, the senior citizens that were using their pensions and their Social Security. He could have kept them there at the $300 per week renting costs at the same rates, while collecting the $700 per week for the migrants, throughout the rest of the resort. And that would have kept his public image. That would have made America look great and all this good stuff. But, we already see how facilitating empty spots helps, Texas alone has almost 130 counties, and almost every county has a portion of them where they have a town that's emptied because Texans and Americans just plain don't want it anymore. Guys, I hate to be a broken record, but honestly, why aren't you taking advantage of that concerning these migrants? The jobs to secure those places and keep it running while vetting the migrants would help immensely. You know, you'd see a huge reduction in unemployment. Um, at least through several different avenues of employment to top it all off. Like, not everybody's going to be a lawyer, you know, but in a town you only need so many anyway, you know. A town only needs so many anyway. Not everybody can be a brain surgeon. Well, a town doesn't really need a brain surgeon. A town needs maybe one that knows how to be universal with that kind of stuff. But there's always room for more cops. There's always room for more nurses. There's always room for more teachers. There's always room for more utility workers. There's always room for more plumbers. You know? I don't see a problem with this. What I do see, however, is the drawbacks that my political leaders are doing. And this is what got me back on Saturday morning, where I'm, you know, where usually, you know, we can all take a break, you know, especially for my blabbermouth. But, don't say but, however, yeah, I mean, you got somebody like Senator Ted Cruz that's saying we can't use our schools for asylums and facilities, holding facilities. And yet you got places like in Fort Worth and various parts of Texas where schools are going to be closed down because it's a waste of tax-paying dollars to keep it open, because nobody's sending their kids to school because there are no more kids in those neighborhoods. And as far as, well, we don't want immigrants in neighborhoods, why not? Here in San Antonio, we've cleared out a building that that we used to go to pay our electric bill before we finally mastered how to do it online. That building has been gutted out, emptied out, and a bunch of asylum-seeking migrants are held there. It's held right in the middle of the city, and it's surrounded by neighborhoods. You know, there's no problem. And the only mixed feelings that they have, the neighborhoods have, is why isn't their vetting process running smoother? Because you got a lot of them that are in need of jobs. You got a lot of them that need to be taken care of. You got a lot of them that need to have the accessibility to take care of themselves. But because the paperwork and the processing is so slow, you got a lot of migrants just sitting around, leaning up against the wall of the building, you know, for fresh air or whatever, you know, and all this stuff. And the people, the American citizens in the neighborhoods surrounding that building that we used to pay our electric bill in, the people in the neighborhoods surrounding that building, you know, just see this very sad, pathetic atmosphere. They're not in danger, but at the same time, they don't know what they're going to do should the time come where there's a huge cry for help. You know, be it by way of lack of food or some kind of heavy storm that keeps them all inside, and, you know, a crack, you know, creates there's some flooding going on inside and everything gets ruined. You know, it's not that it's going to happen, but it is possible with the weather here in Texas. It's just that way it is. You know, stuff happens, and the only way to avoid it is by continually processing the people and getting this function into full gear mode and have it operate. You know, have it being have it operate. You know. Sorry. So the whole bizwax of politicians saying we don't got any more room, while there's tons more room, not only already made, but in the process of being made by way of natural, you know, by way of nature, natural migrations. Nobody sending these certain schools Nobody's sending their kids to these certain schools because they don't have any more kids to send to them. Okay? And the fact that it's done in a neighborhood where the whole community could be like a neighborhood watch, you know, that's one step closer to also being crime-free. No, the last thing you want is a bunch of desperate migrants thinking that they might be better off going into the life of crime, creating B&Es, that's breaking and entering, for those of you who don't know, and taking off with people's goods, which means at some point they might actually have to assault and or kill the American resident. Well, why don't we just prevent that and have the whole processing in motion? Start processing the papers, start doing the background checks, send them to a holding facility somewhere else where they get ready for either jail or a work program. You know, an entirely different location. Send them to that location where they're going to be work. If they already have experience in something, you know, let them stick through that industry. If they don't have any experience and want to learn something else, let them do that as well. The Chinese and the Koreans, I think it's the Koreans, they actually work very well with that. You know, they have people that come over and they need some kind of work. Their specialty is this particular thing, but because it's the American dollar, they're willing to, you know, be something else. They're willing to go work as a carpenter. They're willing to go work as work in the crops. You know, the guy might be a medical man. You know, he might be a medical man, but he's willing to go and work in a propane tank station until he becomes an American and goes back into the medical field. You know, why not do that for these people who are coming over here running for their lives, you know, with workman skills, and put them to use? And speaking of running for their lives, Ted Cruz, all the way down to Border Patrol, all the way down to people that are citizens, they're all complaining that, well, we need more order, we need this because it's a crisis and blah, blah, blah. And we don't have anything against migrants. We just have them not going through here legally, through the proper procedures. They're running for their lives, people. You know, it's still the most idiotic claim since the president is bringing them in so he can get more voters. That's the most bullshit, idiotic claim. And this one goes right alongside it. You know, when you're running for your lives and escaping death, you can't come in here through the proper procedures. Plain and simple. Anyway, it's time to open up the shop. But yeah, I had to bring that back up. The two-faced bull crap that's going on. We don't have any room. We don't have any room while buildings are closing down. You know. That's all for right now. Y'all have a happy Saturday. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time. This is Chris with Chris's Comments, signing out.